Welcome to another exciting episode of The Trading Bell. My name is Malika Kazia, and today we're talking all about M-AKIBA, the retail bond that you need to make sure you have a piece of. Well, before we get right into that conversation with Geoffrey Odundo, the Chief Executive of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, take a look at his profile. Geoffrey Otieno Odundo is the Chief Executive of the Nairobi Securities Exchange PLC. Mr. Odundo, an accomplished investment banker, has been in the financial services sector for the last 26 years, 20 of which have been in the capital markets in various senior roles in asset management, corporate finance and securities trading. He is currently a director of the Central Depository and Settlement Corporation Limited, director of the NSE Clear Limited, and a trustee of the NSE Fidelity Funds. He is a member of the Central Bank and Consolidative Forum for Domestic Debt Market and a council member of the Institute of Certified Investment Financial Analysts. Mr. Odundo is also a director of the Association of the Stock Exchanges of Africa and is a member of the Thomson Reuters Africa Customer Advisory Network. He holds a master's degree in strategic management and an undergraduate degree in mathematics and economics. He is also an advanced management program graduate from Strathmore Business School. Thank you so much for joining us. Actually, I should say thank you to you because, of course, we're on your home turf on the trading floor of the NSE.
Yes.
So let's just begin by the fact that, M-AKIBA is something that is accessible, it's affordable for the ordinary Kenyan. Because when you talk about buying into the treasury bills, you'd need 100,000 minimum. This is 3,000 shillings. It's all on a mobile platform. You just need to dial *889#. Right?
Right.
How have you seen the uptake so far now that you've opened once again, the reopening? What has been the reaction from Kenyans?
Okay. It's been an exciting time, I think, since we opened this issue close to 2 weeks ago. The M-AKIBA product is really a disruptor for how people will own government instruments. So the whole objective of M-AKIBA was actually to encourage Kenyans to save and also to save for development of the country, and because the projects that M-AKIBA targets are basically the infrastructure projects that the government is working on. And in order for us to make it a lot easier, we had to come up with a product that enables Kenyans to access it easily, understand it easily, and make it very, very feasible for them to really buy and sell them at using a very easy mechanism. So we had 2 initial launches. We started with a pilot in March 2017, which was highly successful. We did the second one in June 2017 again. But the challenge then is that there was a lot of, we were heading to an election and there was a bit of anxiety, and that again affected the uptick. But we did a lot of studies after that and looked at the key issues that happened, the challenges we faced, issues around knowledge of products, around marketing, and that then informed our decision to relaunch it 2 weeks ago. So far we are seeing a very, very good uptake. I must say that the numbers are promising. We are actually seeing an increased number of registration. We are seeing an increased number of actual buys. There's a lot of public education going on. This time we decided to really take a very targeted approach. So we used a lot of social media influencers, because who are we targeting in M-AKIBA? We're really targeting the mwananchi.
Yes.
That's the target market, because we want that particular target market to really start understanding products like government bonds, capital market instruments, and the only way to do it is through a platform like this. So we decided to really go through a bottom of the line strategy in terms of targeted marketing, and so far the results are promising. The beauty of M-AKIBA, it's a 24-hour product, so you do not have to wait for markets to open in the morning. You can actually buy it now, buy it at 1 a.m., buy it at 3 in the morning and 6, and buy it again tomorrow up to midnight. So it's really, I'm really Really, really excited and looking forward to a very strong close tomorrow.
All right, so the period where the sale period was 25th March till 25th February till 8th March.
Correct.
Right? So 8th March midnight deadline.
Yes.
And that's as much as you can buy primary buying.
Yeah.
What happens after that? Can you still buy if you have missed that deadline?
So if you miss the deadline, it now becomes a product traded on the exchange.
Okay.
So when you buy it on the exchange, then you're buying it with a certain amount of interest factored in, because once it goes into what you call a value date, which will happen on the 12th, interest starts accruing. So you have to wait for 12th, which is going to be a Monday, and that's a value date. And then now from then on, you'll be buying it with additional interest. And that's why it's important, if you don't want to incur that extra charge, to buy it at the primary level. So that is why we're seeing, and we are still carrying out a study to see the kind of uptick that we are seeing through, and that informs a lot of our final decisions that we can make tomorrow. But mine is just to say that this is a product that closes on a first come, first serve, because allocation is on the basis of application. So it's not like we are first of all getting subscriptions and then we'll decide whether we're going to allocate X amount.
Yeah.
So when you buy, you get. When you buy, you get.
Sure.
Once we hit the top, it closes. So it's a first come, first serve product. So that's why it's early birds actually catch
The worm.
Yep.
Okay, and this is quite a hefty price worm, I would say, because, you know, once you put in that 3,000, you can top up in denominations of 500 after that point. So if you've paid the initial 3,000 for the primary, then you're free to add as much post that, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yeah. So in terms of the application amounts, of course, if you're going to use the USSD, which is not the USSD, but you're going to use the telecom channel, then we go up to the maximum 140,000 per day. So you have to buy it. If you top up and reach your 140, then the next day you can go up to another 140. But we also have the Pesalink channel that takes you up to about $1 million a day.
Yeah.
So those options are there, and we decided to accommodate the large investors who would like to also put in a reasonable amount by opening up a Pesalink channel. So I must say the infrastructure is working very well. So in case anybody faces any glitches, we also have a call center. So there's a whole ecosystem that is functioning extremely well.
Okay, and as you said, you've opened up the channel for those who want to invest bigger amounts as well.
Yeah.
But more so, you also wanted to give the ordinary Kenyan a chance to buy into this and to be able to benefit from it. Of course, we know that Treasury is planning to raise about 250 million shillings from this particular opening in these 18 months. Now, when you talk about an ordinary Kenyan, let's take Shiro, for instance, right? She graduated in 2016. She's working a job, you know, she's saving up her money. She's got that 3,000 initial payment done. She's topping up weekly, monthly, as much as she can. But if she has a dire situation, she probably has an emergency, can she remove that cash immediately?
So the beauty of the M-AKIBA, it's a product which has got a guaranteed exit.
Okay.
So if you have saved your money on the platform and you need to access your money, you actually can go and sell the bond. And when you sell the bond, you get credited immediately.
Okay.
So it has got a mechanism that allows you to sell to a guaranteed buyer and also to buy from a guaranteed seller. So it's a very I would say end-to-end solution, and it's you doing it yourself. So you don't have to call anybody to say how much do I sell it at. It auto computes, and that's the beauty with M-AKIBA. It's got a guaranteed exit. When we developed this ecosystem, we had to really come up with that liquidity provider feature in the product to make it more attractive. So for Wanjiku, it's a very easy product. It's a product that's computed on principal and simple interests. So it's not a very difficult, sophisticated product for one to understand. So the exit is guaranteed.
Okay, so and it's immediate, like you said.
And it's
you know, you don't have a lot of procedures if you have an emergency. So when you do that, you take back your principal as well as the interest accrued, everything.
It does.
Okay.
It does. It computes for you. So assuming that you buy now, and after say a month you want to access your money, it'll compute the interest for a month and give it back to you at that particular cost. So it's with that particular interest component. So it's a very simple product to understand.
Okay, and what I understand is that you get your interest every 6 months.
Every 6 months.
Right? So with this, you will get your interest 8th of April, 2019?
So, so we have, what we've done is that we have reopened an issue. So we had an issue that had been issued in the primary.
Yes.
M-AKIBA 2. So this is what has been reopened.
Okay.
So we have targeted that the people buying now, in the next upcoming interest payment, you will actually qualify for that interest. So if they buy now, and this is now in February, or March rather,
yes,
which is a value date, so you've got March, April, May, June, July, when that interest is paid after 6 months, you qualify for it. And the diary has been synchronized to actually pay the coupon to you at the same time you're paying the initial investors, so that it will continue. Upon maturity, it will mature also with the people who had invested the first time.
Okay.
Because we have reopened an existing issue. So as opposed to being a 3-year paper, this is more like a 1.5-year paper, because it has been reopened halfway. And that was very, very, that was how we wanted to do it, so that it matures at the same time as the initial applicants, to make it a lot easier.
So it's all synchronized in
it's
that
very,
sense.
very synchronized.
Okay. And you know, the other thing that is interesting with M-AKIBA is the fact that your ID card is central. Yeah. Right? Even when you register, that's the first thing you punch in, and you're registered. So a lot of people have been asking, what about those in the diaspora? Yeah. Is this something accessible for them as well?
Yeah. So M-AKIBA is accessible to Kenyans, whether in the diaspora or here, as long as you have an access to your local telco line, because that is the registration. We're using your telephone details, or your registration details for your mobile phone details, as the KYC proof of ownership. So if you have a Kenyan line, then you can actually buy it. So what I've been able to see, for instance, anybody in diaspora today, you can actually do your transactions on M-Pesa from wherever you are.
Yes.
So if you've got M-Pesa in your line, or Airtel, then wherever you are, you can actually buy it. Yeah, but of course you have to have the Kenyan registration. Okay. Yeah, that's necessary.
Okay, that's glad to hear that, because a lot of people have been asking, you know, we're outside, can we still do it? Yeah. And the other thing is that what if you have an existing CDS account? When you register, do you have to open a new one? Okay.
So if you have an existing CDS account, if you participated in the first 2 M-AKIBA issues, then you don't have to register afresh.
Okay.
What will happen is that when you immediately get into the platform and asks you for your service PIN, it automatically knows you're an account holder. So you don't have to register and open an account again. So it'll just continuously upload your existing, top up your existing holdings. But of course, if you're new, then it asks for a service PIN, then it tells you open an account, then you finish that process first, and then you come back and now start the process to buy. So the CDS that it's using is a CDS it's a unique CDS. It's not the current CDS that you have with, say, the Central Depository or Central Bank. This CDS is created on that particular platform. And so it's only available if only existing CDS holders will be people who have actually bought before. Okay. Yeah, and new ones will then be the ones buying now. So if you have a CDS for other things like shares, they are not synchronized.
Okay, so you will, even if you have one for shares, you'll get a CDS for M-AKIBA.
Correct.
Or fresh.
Correct.
Okay, well, thank you so much for clearing up a lot of the nitty-gritties around this. You know, we are trying to, of course, simplify it as much as possible, and so has the NSE, in order to ensure that as many people as possible are able to maximize and benefit from it. And like you said, one of the biggest benefits is that you will save, and you'll be able to invest in something that you'll also be able to see its fruits for yourself, because these are infrastructure projects for the government. So ideally, of course, it would be something that benefits all Kenyans.
In fact, I'd like to just, in closing, say that the interest that is being paid to the investors is 10% net. Yes. So if you today wanted to place, say, 3,000 shillings in whichever kind of investments, I don't think you would actually get a 10% return of this kind. So it's a very attractive product. It pays you 10% net. It's easy to trade. It begins your journey towards becoming a very good investor, understanding the product. It's easy. It targets anybody, the youth, the different profiles of individuals. And at the end of the day, as you rightly said, you're contributing to the national development of your country. So I would like to just make an appeal to all investors to take advantage of this particular issue. It's a very exciting thing to do, and you start making a good career as a new investor in Kenya.
Perfect. Thank you so much for giving us all these details and insight today on the Trading Bell.
All right. My pleasure.
Well, that was the Nairobi Securities Exchange Chief Executive Geoffrey Odundo. And as you heard from him, of course, the M-AKIBA retail bond is something that is set to benefit a lot of people in a lot of ways. And hopefully this particular episode has given you more insight into how you can gain from this particular bond as well. For now, though, let's take a look at the market analysis.
I think for any investor, they are trying to look at where they can maximize on their gains. So of course you will see the prices go up and also the activity on the stocks actually go up. Like for Barclays, we anticipate that it will be announcing on Monday. So of course investors, I think, are actually pricing in the fact that they anticipate a